Hi, wine lovers. Welcome to another episode of Our Poor Decisions.
And today, we're looking at a gorgeous wine cellar.
This is part of our series when we travel around the country to visit wine collectors who are, maybe as crazy about wine as I am.
And if you or anyone you know would like to be featured on our channel, shoot me an email. It's going to be in the description.
B, I have a feeling this is going to be really fun.
Me too.
You want to go inside?
Let's do it. In this episode of Our Poor Decisions, we're inviting you to take a private tour into Mark's 4,000 bottle cellar.
How good of a friend do you have to be to get a seat at this table?
You gotta be pretty special.
Mark is a self-made entrepreneur born and raised in California, and his wine collection certainly reflects that.
Hi, I'm Mark, and this is my cellar.
We will take a look at the cellar's design, Mark's collection, and we'll even mess around with a wine toy my dad hasn't even heard of. And at the end, we'll surprise him and his wife Tara with a special bottle from Pops' cellar.
So, who helped you design this?
No one. When we were building the new house, I wanted to experience the wine. I wanted to be and have my guests engaged in the wine. So the only thing I could come up with to do that, most of my friends, no one's gonna sit actually in a cellar and eat dinner or sit for very long and do tastings. So that's where the idea was hatched, to create a dining space between the cellar, between the glass and the cold climate.
How many bottles can you fit in the cellar?
So the cellar will hold 2,400 in round numbers, and the racking itself, probably about 3,800 to 4,000 all total.
One of the things that I love about this design is that you see the labels, and the labels are facing out. So at any point in time, you can see exactly what wine you have in there. Like, talk to me about that design and how that works.
Sorry.
I didn't know if it was like locked or unlocked.
We keep it locked because some of our folks that come visit have inappropriate cellar disorder.
It's strict in here.
So let's talk about the lock. How does it work?
It's to my fingerprint.
You got a biometric lock?
That's awesome.
I'm gonna make sure that I can get in here.
Illegal user.
And now the cops are coming.
Ineligible user.
Thank you.
I think we should go this way.
So Mark, what kind of materials have you used in here?
We used an ash wood, and we looked for a really hard wood that would hold up really well in the humidity. I used metal racking because I wanted to go 3D. And in the background is a product made by ATI, Advanced Technologies Inc. We came up with a Celtic pattern that was exclusive to me, and they created the walls that are behind the wine. They do wall and ceiling systems, and they will custom make, but they have so many patterns, I can't imagine somebody couldn't find something in their stock.
How do you keep the cellar cool?
So the engineering on this was pretty, not extravagant, but it was well thought out. I put in 2 units, so I put in Wine Guardians, I put in the larger half tons. Each of them are, by themselves, are more than double the need of the capacity of this total cellar. But I put 2 in because that was one of the mistakes I made in my first cellar, was I had 1 unit. Each unit is on its own circuit, and then those circuits are independent, and they go to a 48 watt generator.
One of the things that you mentioned were all the mistakes that you made the first time around. What do you think are the most typical mistakes that wine collectors, when they start out, what are the most typical mistakes that they make?
So in building a cellar, I think the biggest mistake is they don't understand that the room has to have humidity, and they don't build it accordingly. So they'll take an existing space with existing sheetrock and existing insulation, and they'll kind of close it in and put a cooling unit in and think they have a cellar, and that's a huge mistake. You gotta really open your walls up, spray, closed cell foam insulation would be best, but extremely high rated if you're going to use the pre-made fiberglass insulation. And you've got to do the floor, you've got to do the ceiling, and then all the sheetrock needs to be replaced with a green board, which is really made for a bathroom.
Could anyone walk in here and say, okay, I know that these wines are here and those wines are there. Do you want to share with me the organizing principle?
Yeah, I mean, the cellar kind of starts at the far end with some champagnes and the whites, and then it works its way into Pinots, kind of some red blends, works its way around and starts turning into Cabernets and bigger reds on this side, carrying it down. Cabs are obviously my favorite thing, so I'm pretty heavy in the cab area.
All right, I also see that you have liquor in here. Talk to me about that.
So, liquor likes cold just like wine does. And so I put some of my harder to get bourbons or expensive bourbons and tequilas in here. Some of them were gifts, some of them were collections. I have the Blanton's Gold in every single letter to spell Blanton's.
You know, B and I were just visiting Buffalo Trace. We're going to do a video later on Pappy. And we went to the warehouse where they store the Blantons. And it's one unique warehouse, and it's the only building with metal siding on the entire campus. It's really cool.
What are you and your wife drinking on a daily basis? Because I know that she's kind of a wine collector too.
We will open anything on any day. Her and I will be sitting at the table. We'll open a bottle of 100 Acre and eat macaroni and cheese with tuna in it.
Okay, that's couple goals right there.
But if I had to say my go-to daily drinkers, I like Oakville Ranch.
Wines that are from Oakville are very pleasing to my palate, so I told Mark that I really like this wine, and he was like, okay, I'll buy you a lot of it.
Oh, that's quite convenient, right? Oh, I hate when that happens.
He's very smart, and he knows how to keep me happy.
And she has a superior palate to mine. I like the Bard from Realm. Dakota Shy is a great daily drinker. I think Arietta is a great daily drinker. Teeter Totter does a really good job. So there's multiple that I would put in the daily drinker category. Although I have some Harlan and I have 100 Acre and Opus and a few of the bigger names, Colgan and so forth, a lot of what I like is stuff that is kind of up and coming. The night that I was introduced to Realm, one of the guys brought a bottle as kind of a sleeper and did it as a blind, and we were up against Harlan. We had a 82 Lafitte that night. The wine that I had tasted that held up very well with the Harlan, against the Harlan, and that was honestly the Bard, which is, we buy that as kind of a daily drinker. Their wine Absurd here. This wine is super difficult to get.
The Absurd is, not only is it their high end, but it's like absurdly expensive, right?
It is, but it's really worth it. Gargiulo is another one that is kind of a sleeper. They share the valley with Pritchard, Screaming Eagle, Ovid, Delaval, Caldwell. It's just really under the radar because they're super small production, but the wine is really spectacular. Very impressed with Checkerboard right now. I think they're doing a great job. They got one of the winemakers from Harlan. It's a fairly new winery with pretty great pedigree as a winemaker. Another one that I really like is Promise. They've been, to me, a highly consistent, well-made wine. It's not readily available. A lot of the wines that I like, you don't see on restaurant menus.
Well, see, normal people don't get on the wine list like those. You know, we don't have the access that the important people have.
I don't know how important I am, but I certainly have a decent case of OCD, and so when I get onto something, I can't let it go.
So you're gonna have to teach me how to get on the cool list.
I can teach anyone how to be a good pest.
Okay, I'll work on it. It's part of what I'm gonna do.
I'm feeling like you're kind of halfway there.
All right, well,
If I count all the texts and calls to actually do this reluctant wine cellar tour, I think you're more than halfway there, actually.
Hey, I know a good cellar when I see it. What was kind of like your first big purchase where you were like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm paying this much, but the wine is so good, I gotta have it?
Probably Opus was one that when I came across, I was drinking things of lesser quality, I think, and that was very eye-opening.
Okay, so you have a lot of 100 Acre, and we actually did an episode on 100 Acre. What's the story behind that? Clearly, you have some kind of connection.
At 100 Acre is, at the moment, probably the most incredible winemaker, more 100-point wines than anyone I can even think of.
You have an attachment to that because that's your home state?
Absolutely. So I lived in the Bay Area my whole life. Napa was a big part of my coming of age, so to speak. When I got into a place in my life where I was making a little money in my early 20s, frankly, if you were on a date, a more meaningful date than just going to a restaurant was taking someone to Napa.
So you basically kind of used wine to get girls.
Only girls that I had true interest in did I take that extra step. So it wasn't a common date, it was for the ones that I thought the relationship had potential.
I'm assuming you took Tara to Napa, right?
We did go to Napa while we were dating.
Yes.
Hey, that's a pretty good strategy. So obviously you guys have a beautiful collection, and I think I speak for myself and our viewers. We want to know, how do you even start a collection like this? How did you guys get into collecting wine?
In my mid-20s, when I was still living in California, I had a small 24-bottle wine refrigerator and kind of started with that and was buying primarily inexpensive wines by today's standards, grocery store wines. I mean, they were wines that were readily available. It seemed like the higher my income got, the higher the prices of wine I was buying, and so I started slowly working my way up. One wine that I had that was kind of pivotal, I got a bottle of Camus, and this was, I want to say it was probably 1989-ish, and that was, at that point, Camus was one of the hard to get, very expensive for what it was, and
People forget that Camus actually used to be like that,
they were
right?
a small production winemaker and a high quality production though, and so that was probably one of the finest wines I'd had at that point in my life, and that's when it really started to turn. You know, one of the things that we use often is an Alpina, which kind of helps aerate the wine at a much quicker speed. So you can put a bottle in and you can put it on an hour, and it takes about 4 minutes for it to give it an hour's worth, and it actually injects air underneath the wine.
All right, I have never heard of this. I am dying to try it.
I never thought there would be a wine gadget that you didn't know existed.
Evidently.
So the Alpina will probably be controversial to your wine aficionados because this is a total cheater. And we just simply hit go, and it will, by percentage, get to 1 hour in probably a minute and a half.
So this is basically 1 hour.
So it's 1 hour being in the air.
Cheers, me.
I definitely taste a difference.
This is pretty significant.
It's significant. So I'm going to
I
put.
mean, this is significant.
So I'm going to do another hour. The thing is, you can go past. So you have to find your sweet spot and stick with it.
You're not driving anymore, are you?
If Alpina's sales spike, they owe me some money.
Yeah.
So this is hour 2.
Cheers.
And thank you guys again so much
Yes.
for just sharing this with us.
I was pretty skeptical going into this. But
It's pretty
this is
amazing.
noticeably different. And this
In a
wine
good
is
way,
open.
right?
Yeah, this wine has really opened up.
Should we chance another hour?
Let's do it.
Yeah, just give me just a little bit. I just want to try it. Thank you.
Or like my brother says, just give me a little bit in the top of the glass.
So at 3 hours, I think the nose on this has changed significantly.
Is it more muted?
Yeah.
I would say we went past that. I would say the 2 hour point was the perfect time on this one.
Well, I would really like to know if any of our viewers have experiences with Alpina, and please leave your comments below. I'm fascinated. One of the things that we do as part of our visits is that we bring a wine that we think that you don't have.
Let's see.
So we brought wine for you. You may actually know this wine. We did an episode on Monarch, and I think we went through your list, and we have decided, at least on your list so far, you don't have a Monarch. Am I correct about this or not? Or did you buy some?
I think I bought some.
Oh,
I think I bought some, but I don't know that I bought this one.
All right. So this is a 2011
I don't think you have
Monarch.
Yay.
And if you need to know more about it, check out our
Episode on Monarch.
Thank you so much. This is great.
Hey, I want to thank you for your hospitality, for sharing your wine cellar with us.
Of course.
And this has been so much fun. Thank you so much.
Cheers.
Cheers.
This might be the most fun video we've done yet.
Skull.
Yay, winning.
Not every part of Napa is equal.
This is such a great.
I'm on film and you're grabbing me like
Because
a
you don't
fucking
have to
animal.
just scratch
This is like
yourself.
this
You're
is like the
watching.
greatest marriage moment right here, and we got it on film. So tell me, what is your favorite wine moment?
Was it with somebody else?